So we were talking about some of your favorite procedures and mapping,
Okay.
right? That was one of them. What is it about mapping? Excuse me. What is it
So-
about mapping that you like?
It's first when I started mapping, it was really hard. It still is a little challenging to these days, but I just have this personality where I'm very OCD, like this needs to be this way, that way. So at first when I started mapping, I would map sitting up, right? I like to sit them up, sit them down, but this one thing happened where I was mapping and I was super concentrated. And I didn't know this girl. Like, it was so weird because she was like, she had like an uptight personality, and I was like, okay, I'll be uptight, not uptight, but not as goofy or funny or whatever, you know. Can't make jokes around this one. So all of a sudden she goes like, she started laughing,
Started giggling.
because you know, like you're looking at their face, you're this close. I'm like, you know what, okay, let me mark her. So I sat her down, and that from there it ended up working for me. So I kind of like to kind of sit them up, mark them where I have my points.
So what method? Are you rulers, calipers? What method?
String mapping.
So you're the string method.
I'm a string mapper.
So do you like pre-inked or do you like...
No, I don't like pre-ink.
You don't like
Just-
pre-ink?
No, just because it gets super messy. I don't like pre-ink because I feel like if you need a kind of, I like to take a little wooden Q-tip to take that out.
Okay.
So I like to kind of like just take like a threading string, and I like to kind of dent the skin, and then from there just kind of gently press. This way
okay.
it's not too messy, and it
So
doesn't
there's
clear
no
up.
ink, because I don't use the string method. So
Yeah, I don't like
really-
the ink string. What do you use?
I mostly freehand. Yeah, most of my career. But I do have rulers.
Okay.
And so if I like when they don't have brow hair,
Okay.
that's the hardest
Dude.
design to get on, right? The symmetry,
Yes.
because there's no guide.
yeah.
So if someone doesn't have brow hair, or if I'm struggling, then I'll get the rulers out. I'll put the ruler on their forehead, and I'll make my, my marks and whatnot to make sure my symmetry's on point. But I would say 90% of the time, I freehand all my brows on. It just comes natural to me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was just organic for me. It wasn't
Yeah.
something I decided upon. It was just, I remember starting out trying to use calipers, trying to use rulers, and they would mess with me. Like I couldn't get on an eyebrow as symmetrical using tools. So I just put the tools down and I just started freehanding. Michonne, my artist here, she also mostly freehands.
Okay.
Yep. And then the rest of the artists here, they use, either string or, rulers or whatnot. But yeah, so you use a string method. So do you have all those? The thing about the string method, Marsha, is I look at the string, especially when it's someone online and they're using the ink. It's
Yeah.
like all those.
No,
Like
yeah.
my mind, I'm
Yeah,
like all
it's-
those lines.
It's a little distracting. No, I don't like. I've tried the ink before. I've tried the caliper, and it didn't work for me. I think that whatever works for you. Like there are certain ways to PMU where you have to do it a certain way, like how you hold the machine. But whatever works for you, I think that's what's best. Because I tried the ink, I didn't like it.
You didn't like it,
So I
yeah.
always make sure you'll see it with the string. You press it on their skin and you dent it. You'll
And
see it.
yeah. I think our microblading artist that used to be here a couple years ago, that's how she did it. She would just take string and like push hard, and it would just make the indent. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I think any which way, whatever it takes to get
Yeah.
on a beautiful symmetrical brow.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares?
It's all about just getting it on there, right?
Yes.
And getting it symmetrical.
Yes.
So who cares what you have to
Yeah.
do to do it? It's like-
Absolutely.
right, as long as you can do it. How long
Oh God! What
does
are
it?
you?
How long does it take you to get your design drawn on?
Oh,
Because you're 4 years in now.
yeah.
So let's just see where your time is at. So how long
When I first started, it would take an hour and a half
to draw?
to draw.
To draw. Okay, so where
and
you at
then
now?
I got better and then faster. So about a good, if I'm like, okay, these brows are where I want it to be, a good 30 minutes. If it's someone with like old PMU and I kind of have to tweak some things, up to 45. So
Okay, so 30 to 45
45,
minutes just drawing. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And that part is, it's the part where a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
And honestly, to get there, it's not what's written down for you, it's what you feel works best for you.
Oh, I agree with you
Yeah.
100%. I think it was
Yeah.
like Shay Daniels. a few weeks ago put out a post asking, like, and I think she was kind of addressing newbies, like, a year or under, in the industry. What is the one thing like you struggle with the most? And I was scrolling, looking at these answers, and it was mapping. And of course there was other things mentioned, but I was kind of taken back by how many people mentioned mapping.
Yes.
So yeah, a lot of people really struggle with mapping or drawing, getting the eyebrow drawn on the face symmetrically.
Yeah, because it's also like a thing where okay, this is what I have mapped out. This is right now, but I have to think about what's going to be on you for like the next couple of,
Well, and then once you get it on, the client has to like it. So what do you do? Okay, so it takes me about 10, 15 minutes of drawing to get an eyebrow on.
That's awesome.
But 21 years practice, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm fairly quick nowadays.
Dude.
Yeah. But I can remember when it used to take me an hour. I mean, my goodness, like those days. What's funny about memory is there's a lot of things I don't really remember 20 years ago, but you never forget your PMU days. Your first this, your that, you just don't forget like that stuff, or I don't anyway. So I clearly remember first drawing bad eyebrows. I remember struggling. I remember it taking me, 30 minutes up to an hour sometimes. And it would take me up to an hour on people that were just either really super picky or just really, like they weren't symmetrical from side to side, or they had no hair. So I remember that. What do you do if you spend that 30, 40 minutes designing and then you have the client look and they don't like it? I mean, it's crushing, right? We're like, do you show them along the way? Do you let them have a mirror? Let me ask you that. Do you let your client have a mirror and kind of watch you as you design?
I do. Not as I design. I take the mirror away from them.
Good girl.
I make sure there's no mirror.
Yeah.
But like a compact mirror in my purse, and they can't touch my purse. So the only mirror I have is like the whole like vintage mirror by my door. But handheld mirrors are only given after I'm done designing.
Okay, perfect. That's
Is
the
that
rule.
bad?
No, that's the rule in here.
Yeah.
That's the rule in here. You don't get to look until I'm completely done.
Because
Yeah.
they nitpick at everything, and it's like, dude, I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
It's kind of like building a house. You have a foundation, you have your cement, you have your steel. You can't.
Exactly. Exactly. So we do the same thing in here. We get it on best we can till we think it looks great, and then we show them.
Good.
And then, half the people are like, oh my God, I love it. And then out of the other 50%, they have a few little minor tweaks or adjustments they point out and want to make, no big deal. But then, there's that client that, super, I mean, it's like, it's almost like sometimes you just feel you cannot please somebody. You can't get a brow on somebody that's going to be accepting to them. Have you had that?
Yeah. I mean, this was actually kind of crushing because ever since 2017, I don't know if I had like really nice girls or really easygoing girls or just a okay pair set of eyebrows where it doesn't take like a whole world to map. But actually last week my heart was a little broken because, I love what I do. And if there's someone that says, every time you draw, it's the most heartbreaking thing because you're really into it and you want to give them the best shape and make them happy.
Yeah.
She had one brow, like she had them done. She had one brow going down this way and I could see the old work and another brow kind of flicking out to the side.
So her tails were like...
One tail was lifted and one was like downward.
Gotcha.
One was happy, one was sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I as an artist, like I took into consideration, okay, don't make these too thick, but also kind of even them out where it doesn't look like she has like 5 tails or 4 tails.
Right.
So that's what as an artist, that's how I think. So I showed her and she's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, this is happening right now.
Yeah.
So and it took a couple of, a little concealers for me to kind of scrape out the edges to what she wants. And I said, okay, I normally don't do this. I normally don't let my clients take over the shape, but here's the wax pencil. Show me what you want.
Yeah. You know, I've done that. I've done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you just can't get it, I'll give them the pencil and I'm like, I'm not getting what you want. You're not liking what I'm doing. Just draw it on for me. And then I'll go right behind you and, you know, clean it up, make sure it's like, and sometimes that works. But then what if they take their pencil and they draw something that you find really unattractive and you really don't want to tattoo that on their face? I mean, I know how I feel about that. So if it ends up being an eyebrow that is, you find that is not attractive, it is just way too thick or way too close together or, you know, whatever it may be, will you still do it? Because you're 4 years in, so you're probably still building your clientele in your book, right? We have bills to pay,
right.
Do you still do it, or do you have, or will you let the client go? Because, and there's no right or wrong answer to this. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this at all.
Yeah,
I think it's just kind of personal, and you know, I just get curious on what other people's boundaries are.
Well, for me, when that happened, and I guess this is the best answer, how I felt at the time was, a part of me was like, if I convince her, like, that'll help me with my rent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I thought about, that's not the kind of artist I am. Like, I get it, because it's your face, it's her face, and it's her crowning glory besides, you know, just your face, you know. So
but that's an honest answer. I think a lot of people.
Yeah. So it's something, when that happened, I said, you know, it's not worth the money. That's not the kind of name I want to put on her face, because that's my name on her face. So at the end of the day, I said, you know what, we were there 2 hours, and that's a long time. I said, we've been here almost 2 hours and
drawing.
Yeah. So I'm like, I respect where you want to go, but at the same time, because you have old work done that it's really conflicting with what you currently have, I want you to go home and sit back and think about it.
Yeah. So did you bring her in for a consultation first?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that still happened even at the appointment. Wow.
Yeah.
So you have way more patience than me, because there's no way. Well, at least now. There's maybe 20 years ago I would have. And I did.
Yeah.
But now I would never like sit for 2 hours trying to please somebody. Yeah. I just don't have that patience anymore. Yeah. But I understand, as a young artist, you do have that patience.
And you know, what I realize is, can't please everyone. There's going to come that time where, you know, and for a second there, I doubted myself. For a second there, everything I worked so hard on was down the drain because someone didn't like what I did.
Right. Yeah.
But I said, you know what?
But that's going to happen a lot.
Yeah.
A lot in your career. It is. And it just is. You're gonna, what will, I don't know if this has happened yet, but this is going to happen, is, you know, someone will come in, you'll draw a pretty eyebrow, they approve it, you tattoo it on them, they love it, and then the next day you get a text.
Oh,
it's too thick.
I hate those.
I mean, you know, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it just, you know, and it sucks, you know, because it messes with our mind and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it does, because you're so passionate about what you do, and with passion comes making people happy, because their reflection of happiness is your work, and that's a big thing to you as an artist, you know?
Yeah, for sure. For me, I'll compromise. It doesn't have to be my way, but I can't, and I've never been able to do anything that I find super unattractive. I just can't do it. Like, I can't do it. But I can compromise. I may think the eyebrows should be a little closer together. I may think they should be a little bit thinner. My own personal taste. So I'll compromise. I'll do brows that I think are a little bit too thick, or brows that are a little too this or that. As long as I look at them, I'm just like, yeah, they're still good. They're not what I would do if I had my own way. So I think I'm a good compromiser. But Yeah, if it's something I find unattractive, I just can't get myself to do it.
So I gotta ask you, you know how like brow trends are always changing?
Yeah.
Like I've been doing this like 4 years, whatever. So
Right.
I plucked my brows a lot in the 90s, so they never came back. Anyway, long story short, because you've been doing brows for 20, how long?
21 years.
Dude.
This month, September, 21
That's
years.
so amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, this month. Wow.
Do you think that, because you know how like thick brows are in, do you think that's gonna we're gonna go through a hula like?
You know, when I first started, it was skinny brows. So I've seen lots of trends come and go, and then circle back around.
Yeah.
So I do. I think the thick brows. I think they're going to, they'll run their course, and then it will be a thinner brow or a new style.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the cycle of life, I think, even with fashion, eyebrow styles, hairstyles.
Yeah.
I mean, look at like bell bottoms, right? They were popular.
I love bell bottoms.
Yeah, right? They were popular in the 70s, right? 60s, 70s, and then they, in the 80s, not style, but then they came back in the 90s, and then they went out of style. But bell bottoms are kind of back again.
Oh.
Yeah, my wife was just telling me that, because she's done all this fashion stuff. So she was like, bell bottoms are like starting to come back again. And I'm like, oh, wow. So I think trends come and go for sure. And you'll see them circle back around again. I like all the trends, but I think that's why it's important, like, to learn, like, the classic powder brow, like fundamental.
Those are pretty.
Yeah, because those really never go out of style.
Yeah.
And the big question right now is the ombre brow going to go out of style?
Yeah.
Because it's ombre. But a couple years ago, it was like deep ombre. Like the ombre started like way back here. And I don't really see that too much anymore. So it'll be interesting to see, what starts to fade out of style, what comes back into style. It's always exciting for me. I think it's fun. And it keeps our jobs really super interesting and something new to learn, right? Because when a new trend hits, we all want to learn it, so we can offer it to our clients. So, yeah.